Hey everybody, welcome back to the Author on Wheels podcast. I'm your host, John Wood, author of A Fight to Survive, Might Fight Continues, and the No Limits Writing Journal. We are finally getting ready to kick off Season 7, Episode 2 of our podcast, so grab a drink, pull up a chair, and get ready for the Author on Wheels podcast. Today we have Professor Jennifer Beilis with us. Jennifer, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, thank you for having me on the show. I'd like to talk about myself. I'm an author of 2 books. I published Here I Am, and that is about advocacy for people with disabilities. And my thesis in graduate school, which was for both books and about my life, that people with disability can, with the proper accommodations, can indeed go to work, school, and in their homes as well to have the proper accommodations, and they can be, as just like anybody else. And it's also about self-advocacy, and it shows all the different colleges that I've graduated from. And the way that I did my second book, which is brand new, and I just received my author's copies like 5 minutes ago off the truck, so I'm super excited to tell you that. And the reason for writing another book was A, to help myself, and B, with the expectation of this book really exploding and seeing people growing. And so they see things that I've been through, like different illnesses, hearing loss, or different things in my life, to show as a role model that you can do it too. You can certainly improve yourself no matter who you are. It doesn't have to you don't have to have a disability to make changes and grow. And I really hope to help people again, which I did with my first book as well, all around the world. And so basically, then you'll see some journalization exercises in the book to show you how to grow and to be the best version of yourself. That's why I wrote the book, to help people when they're going through a crisis, or just everyday changes, every day, day to day. Or people could be going through, quite a lot of hard times, or they could be preparing for it or gone through it and become stronger in the long run. Now, so that's what the books are about, and that's what I hope to hear from the people that read it. I want to see those reviews. I have 2 great reviews so far. And my book just came out about a week or 2 weeks ago, the most, and I want to see it everywhere. Now, about me is that I am a professor teaching in New Jersey, American Sign Language levels 1 and 2, and did teach deaf culture as well. And I taught psychology in the past, and I have a hearing loss, and I try to be a strong advocate for people with disabilities. That is my forte. And I also help people and they don't have to actually have disabilities. They may not even know they have one. And so I try to identify and help the people. Some people don't want any help, so that's also fine too. But it's really important to it's my belief, it's important. I might be the only one listening to that person and then giving them a referral, to counseling, housing, or whatever they might need. And I really hope to see my students and faculty and all my friends coming out to my different book shows and book signings. I'm really excited. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on with us. Describe the feeling you had when you published your first project. Give me the feelings.
My first project was called Here I Am, and that took me about 8.5 years to write. It was a very long process. And I wrote about me and all my educational journeys and different health challenges. And it was very hard to overcome them. I still every day have challenges. The second book was different. I wanted to take it to a higher level and have people be able to help themselves even more.
I love that. I love that so much.
Thanks.
What advice would you have for the people who are interested in writing or publishing their work?
That's a great question. I thought it was very grueling. It was very hard, long hours. Sometimes I would get up in the middle of the night and write keywords. I suggest to keep little notebooks or pads every room in case in the middle of the night, I thought of something. But I think what I should have said, okay, I'll write for an hour, edit for an hour, but I just kept going and going. So I would definitely say you must have breaks, and it's important to reach out to other people and still be able to succeed and find people who figure out who the target audience.
Absolutely. Appreciate that answer. I really do. Thank you. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. What is one motto that you live by as an author?
My motto is what I said before. Basically, you can achieve your dreams and you may need adaptations and you may need to tweak things. And it's so important to be able to, I always try to have like 5 different plans. And so it's important to be able to be relentless.
Again, another superb answer, Jennifer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Where can people connect with you in regards to your work or your books?
People can connect with me on LinkedIn, my regular name. They can find me on Facebook. I'm on Nextdoor, Blue Sky, eventually Instagram, and there was another one, X, which was formerly Twitter. I'm on that. If they want to connect with me, they can connect with me to email. And I also would like to see people coming out to book signings, to libraries, Barnes and Noble, and whatever book signings that I have in the future. I also wanted to add one more thing I forgot to say, that in this book is different than the first book because I interviewed different people. One of them, and one of my friends, I interviewed Stephanie Brown when she went through different hard times and how she got through it. And then my other 2 interviews, one was through NAMI, NAMI, in all capital letters. They are a fabulous mental health organization to help people. And I had interviewed a person who worked there to help people with mental health, group homes, all kinds of different problems, and to be able to live independently. And I also interviewed Hearing Loss Association of America, and that is a national organization for people with hearing loss to be able to, find ways to pay for hearing aids, possibly how to connect with other people for any disability that you have, or any illness or any problem that you might have. It is so important to feel wanted and needed and not, like, oh my God, I'm going to give up. And that way you make friends and then you make, family members. That's all well and good, but it's a lot easier to find support groups. And that way you can talk to people and, have like a balance. So that way, when the stressors happen, you can have coping mechanisms. I talk about coping mechanisms in the book as well for depression, anxiety, learning disabilities, any kind of mental health issues the person is going through. All of these things are important to have a safe place to be able to find peace within yourself. The world is a very hard time. We went through a pandemic in the last several years and everybody lost touch of themselves and have no clue how to communicate anymore between writing and seeing one another. We're still, don't want, afraid to go in big crowds and things like that. And so I'm hoping that my books bring people together, either online or in person or whatever, however, to be able to find the help that they deserve and they need so they can move on. And I even heard from one today. 2 people thanked me for writing my books and it made them feel great and not isolated and being able to move on. So I feel good when I hear things like that, or a student graduated, or they accomplished a job, or different things like that. So all these things, they add up and they make me feel good.
Amen. That hit me. That is so true. I try to talk openly about mental health, and I find myself sometimes in bouts of anxiety and depression because I'm in a wheelchair. I have spina bifida, for those that don't know, and I find myself kind of struggling, struggling to do these interviews, struggling to do my day-to-day stuff without just letting the anxiety and depression just ride me down and, say, hey, you're not going to do it. It's not going to work for you today, buddy. So just lay back and take it and let it happen to you. But honestly, everything that you've said during this interview, Jennifer, has been spot on. 100%. You've blown my questions out of the water with your answers. I am very, very, very thankful that you took the time to join us today on this interview. And guys, you can get her books on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever books are sold. All the links will be in the show notes of this episode. But guys, that's the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'd like to thank our guest, Jennifer Beilis, for joining us on the Author on Wheels podcast. And before we go, I'd like to impose a question. How are you telling your story? We all have a story to tell, and it's up to us to find our unique way of telling our story. Because as I always say, a story is only as good as the person telling it. So with that being said, thank you for listening. We will see you on the next episode. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for sharing about yourself. I'm glad that we made friends recently, and I hope to make friends and help people all over the world. In turn, that helps me too. So thank you so much for your kind words. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. We'll see you on the next episode, guys.